Hello, fifth grade family. Happy Tuesday. I'm excited to share today's lesson with you, and I'm just going to do a little tutorial reminder of how to get into our Google Classroom. The first thing that you're going to do is log into classroom.google.com. Once you're there, you're going to find our ELA class, and you're going to click on the words. Those words will bring you up to our Classwork page, and as you scroll down, you will see all of our different assignments, including the different materials you need, an area to write comments, and a message from me. If you're a person who's trying to catch up because maybe you didn't do work for the first month of quarantine, all that work that you need to catch up on is just below, so you would just scroll down for it. How do you know what to catch up on? Check your Jupyter. I put grades in every day for the work that was due the day before. So let's jump right on in. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, and here is our message. Hi, fam. I'm sending you all virtual hugs. Today is my cousin Cooper's birthday. Do you have a cousin that you're missing right now? Share with me more in the comments. I can't wait to see your work today. Push yourselves. You can do this because you are worth it. Let me hear you say that, fifth grade. Say, I am worth it. Sounded good. Let's click and see what our lesson for today includes. We're going to start off with a do now. You're going to write 4 or more complete sentences answering the question, if someone wrote a book about you, what would it be about? Go ahead and pause this video and press play when you are done. Welcome back. If you pressed play, that means that you're all finished with that do now. What we're going to do next is review the answers to page 128 from yesterday, and then I'm going to give you today's assignment, which is page 129. Real quick, open up to page 128 in your workbook with me. And let's go over those answers. Classifying. This is an activity that Mason is really, really good at. Yasir is really good at. I moved my face back. So, hi. Yasir is very good at these. Jamil is very good at these. Samaj is. So I hope that you guys did a really lovely job with it at home. Jeremiah, Tiny, you guys are super good at these. Number 1, what word is missing? Yes, Jeremiah. Good. Soothe. And the way that we know is that all of those words mean the same thing. They are synonyms. Number 2, go ahead, Tainif. Good. Should be the word senseless. And the way that you determine that is all of those words are in the same word family that starts with sense. Number 3, Dylan T, what do you have, honey? Excellent. Compose. Brainstorm, outline, draft, compose. Those are the steps of the writing process. Number 4, interesting. We're kind of having like a plague right now, which is interesting. Plague, earthquake. Yes, excellent job. Yes, here it is famine. These are all types of disasters. Number 5, judge, jury, and Kendall? Verdict. Good. These are all words that relate to a court case. Number 6, who's got it for me? Anila. Good. Identical, similar, unlike, opposite. These words are comparisons of objects in order from the most similar to the most different. Number 7, pity, pitiful, Miley. Pity less. Good. They're a word family. Number 8, cookie, muffin, cake. Yes, Andrew. Tart. These are all desserts that we could eat. Number 9, spin, twirl, twist. What is it, Samaj? Rotate. Good. These words are all synonyms. Number 10, glee, flee, ski. What word is missing in here? Talea? Plea. Good. These are words that rhyme. Number 11, considerable, dependable, reasonable, and that was a really hard one, Dylan H. Good. Presentable. They all have the same suffix, which is which suffix? Look here. Which one is it? Yes, A-B-L-E. Very good job. Last one, middle, secondary. What goes first? I knew you guys would know that. Primary. Those are all levels of school. Your assignment for today is to pause this video and complete page 129. Go ahead and press play when you're ready for what's up next. If you're watching me right now, that means you're ready for what's up next. We are going to use the YouTube video to read pages 280 to 290. Starting on page 280, and remember, we're in a really tense moment of the book right now. where Ernie feels like he's being challenged and persuaded to learn how to shoot a gun, even though it's something that he is not interested in doing at all. He doesn't want to shoot a gun. He doesn't think that he needs to. He has no interest in it. And he spoke up for himself and he said, no, I don't want to do it. And then Crab kind of pressured him, right? So on the last reading that we did yesterday, there was a lot of dialogue, which is when our characters speak to each other, talking about if Ernie should have to do it or if he shouldn't, if Tess and Grandma should go, or if it should just be boys. There's a lot of anticipation. For me as a reader, all that anticipation, it makes me think maybe something bad is going to happen that we're getting built up towards. Also, anytime that there's a gun involved, I get a feeling in my gut of, is something bad going to happen? Does anybody else feel that way? Please meet me on the top of page 280 where it says, Tess looked torn. Tess looked torn between going to be with Ernie and not leaving Grandma alone to sit and stress herself to death. You could maybe help me work on Ernie's birthday cake for when they get back, Grandma added. Her voice was suddenly high and sing-songy, like a little kid's, coaxing. Way different from her mad at Crab growl. Tess sighed and pulled a chair from the table. Okay, she agreed, shaking her head. She had just been conned by a senior citizen. Look, I'll be outside, Crab said, heading towards the door. All this back and forth is killing me. Yeah, go ahead. We'll be out there in a sec, Grandpop said. He followed Grandma into their room, kicking the door almost closed behind him. Jeannie tried not to be nosy in grown folks' business, and he failed. He just couldn't help peering in and seeing Grandma sitting on the bed and pulling up her favorite book to her lap. Seeing Grandpop grab his hat and slap it on his head, and then run along the dresser, his hand along the dresser, until he got to a folded flag, just like the one upstairs. Slipping his hand into the pocket the folded triangle made, he wiggled out his gun. He tucked it into the back of his pants, just like Jeannie had seen it on that first day. Then Grandpop gave Grandma a kiss, soft and gentle, and then he came back out, ready for hollering. Ernie, Little Wood, y'all ready? Jeannie could tell Grandpop was excited, and so was he. He grabbed Grandpop's arm. Let's go! Ernie had run upstairs to get a shirt on, and then he had to go to the bathroom. And now Jeannie, Grandpop, and Crab were all outside waiting on him. Crab cracked a joke about him peeing the fear out. It wasn't funny, and nobody laughed, except Crab. He and Grandpop began discussing what exactly they were going to have Ernie shoot at. I don't think I want him shooting at trees. A bullet might ricochet or something, Grandpop was saying. Right. Well, what do you got in the house? Anything old that you don't mind getting shot up? You know, like maybe what? Grandpop said. His voice was a warning. You better not say my wife. Nah, man, geez. I was going to say like some tin cans or some of them old hooch bottles or something like that. Chill out. I ain't got no beef with your wife. She's got beef with me. Crab frowned. Forget I asked. I got an idea, anyway. He went to his car and he popped the trunk again. First, he pulled out his rifle. Then, after digging around for a second, he hauled something else out and held it up triumphantly. A plastic bag full of aluminum cans and glass beer bottles. Got a whole lot of them from the bar. Gotta be at least $20, $25 worth back there. You know, gas money. Don't forget to grab the ones you left in my folks' house back up in the woods. Crab groaned. I said I was sorry. Jeannie braced for that argument to start back up. Then, phew, Ernie came back out the door. Now everybody be careful, Crab warned as they entered the woods. Man, we ain't on no battlefield, Grandpop replied, cocky. Crab didn't reply. He just made his eyes big and did some kind of magical hand signal to Jeannie and Ernie, indicating that they needed to keep an eye on Grandpop. And watch out for dog mess. It's all over the place, Crab grunted, taking the lead. Poopidity. Jeannie had to choke down a laugh. Ernie tapped Jeannie on his shoulder as they began wading through the woods. Yo, here, He handed him his sunglasses. Whoa. Ernie had never let him touch his shades, but Jeannie put them on. Touch his shades. The welt by Jeannie's eye had nearly faded, but Jeannie put them on anyway. Crab grabbed sticks and rocks out of the way, but Grandpop was moving pretty smoothly, his hand light on Jeannie's shoulder. The farther they went in, though, the tighter Grandpop's grip got, and soon sweat was coming from his hand, sogging up Jeannie's shirt. Jeannie wondered how concerned Grandpop really was, hiking through the trees like that, occasionally tripping over the ground roots that Crab couldn't kick away. And on top of that, it was daytime. The Copperheads, they were wide awake. And just because Jeannie, for all his watching, hadn't seen any yet, that didn't mean that they weren't there. In the distance was the yellow house. Jeannie wanted to point it out to Grandpop, but Grandma had said not to mention it, and when Crab did mention it, he almost got mollywopped. Jeannie thought about how Grandpop might react if he found out about Michael Jackson. But the sight of the old house, plus all of the birds chirping around him, led Jeannie to hope that maybe another swallow had already been caught, letting him off the mollywop hook. It hadn't checked the trap yet today. Jeannie also had the crazy idea that maybe the tweeting birds were telling the other birds to look out because Crazy Crab was in the woods. Or maybe they were saying that Jeannie, the bird napper, was coming. Jeannie didn't want the animal world to think that he and his grandfather and brother were anything like Crab, given that Crab had probably ticked off every critter in there by shooting at them all the time. If he was a squirrel and saw Crab coming, he would be pretty ticked off. But Jeannie wasn't an animal killer like Crab. Oh, wait, he was. He was! And what if the other animals somehow knew and they all banded together and launched some kind of attack? Jeez. Jeannie eyed the woods nervously until, thankfully, and animal attack free, they came to a part of the trail that opened up. It was almost like God forgot to plant trees in this one small circular section, the forest's bald spot. This is it, Crab said grandly. This is where me, y'all's daddy and uncle, and just about every other kid in town learned how to shoot, thanks to your old granddaddy there. I'm going to pause there real quick. I noticed in the comprehension answers that only a few of us remembered why the boys were taught to shoot at 14, and so I wanted to remind you this. When Grandpop was younger, there was a young man named Emmett Till who was really horribly beaten and killed by a group of white men because they believed that he whistled at a white woman leaving a store. You guys probably have heard the story of Emmett Till before. I know that Anila taught us a lot about Emmett Till and about his mother's journey to spread the word of his death to the whole entire world, so everyone knew how racism was so dangerous. So when Grandpop was a kid and that happened, the people of his town determined that all of the boys that were 14 years old needed to know how to shoot a gun so that they'd be able to defend themselves and protect themselves in case something bad happened. That tradition has continued on and is now happening for our friend Ernie, who is turning 14, probably in a time really close to ours right now. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Jeannie took it all in, trying to imagine his dad and Uncle Wood as kids getting shooting lessons from Grandpop. Grandpop, able to see, teaching Dad how to hold a rifle. Grandpop was looking left to right, right to left too, probably imagining the same thing, how it used to be. Crab set down his rifle and the bag of cans and bottles on the ground, and he began pulling on some tree branches that surrounded the area. You okay? Jeannie asked Grandpop softly. He was still clutching Jeannie's shoulders. Grandpop leaned in. I said, you okay? Jeannie asked again. Ah, little Wood, I'm fine. What do you think me and you was getting all that practice for? He said low and smooth. Wait, what? Jeannie's mind was erupting. Grandpop had planned this whole thing, All those night missions. Why, they were basically training sessions so that he could be here for Ernie's 14th birthday, so that he could keep up the tradition. At first, Jeannie felt like, well, kind of stupid, like he had been pranked. But that feeling washed away as it also dawned on him that he was part of the reason the tradition could continue. He had a big part in it, in fact. So that's why you asked me to take you outside all those times. Jeannie tried to keep his voice down. Not that it would have mattered. Crab was getting the target situated, and Ernie was drifting off in space somewhere. Always with the questions, Grandpop laughed. But yeah, I'm tired of feeling like some blind baby in a doggone playpen. And you were the only one who could do it and not treat me like one. Well, that sure made Jeannie feel good. But before he could reply, Crab called out, "This one I'll do." Shaking a skinny limb, he let it twang back into place while he dug a Coke can out in the bag. He wiggled the tip of the tree limb into the mouth of the can. "This here's your target," he told Ernie, who was standing off to the side as if this wasn't all about him. "Now, let's talk some basics, and most importantly, the rules." Crab lifted his rifle in both hands, like he was about to demonstrate how to shoot an arrow from a bow, which would have been just as cool in Jeannie's estimation. But just when Crab opened his mouth to explain what rule number 1 was, Grandpop interrupted. "Rule number 1, he said, Ernie has to shoot my gun. He's my oldest grandson, and I think it's only right that he uses the family 6-shooter. He reached under his shirt and he pulled out the revolver. Crab's eyes went wide. It was an old silver beauty with detailing in the pearl handle, a shine on the barrel. Crab looked like he wanted to kiss it, like he wanted to eat it. "Okay, old man," Crab conceded. "You got it." Then he rattled through a bunch of stuff that Jeannie never even knew about guns. Turned out they were way more complicated than you would ever guess. For one thing, you didn't just point and shoot. Crab explained that there were only 6 shots in the revolver. The bullets went in the thing called the cylinder, which looked a lot like a fat metal honeycomb that popped out from the side of the gun. Jeannie had seen that honeycomb thing in a bunch of movies, but never knew the name. Grandpop wasn't hanging on Jeannie's shoulders anymore, but he stayed brushed up close. "No matter what, son," Grandpop interrupted again, "never, ever, ever point a gun at a person. Be very careful with these things. They are not toys. Got me?" Jeannie instantly had questions. Questions that weren't the kind you ask out loud, at least not in this moment. Questions to write down. When were toy guns invented? When was Coca-Cola invented? What's the difference between a rifle and a revolver? Why only 6 shots in the revolver? Why not 7? Is it because 6-shooter sounds better than 7-shooter? What he wasn't thinking about in the moment was Michael Jackson, or the red truck for a change. All Jeannie could think about was how friggin' awesome all of this was. "Of course, Grandpa, I'm not stupid," Ernie was saying, sort of smart-mouthed. It was the first thing he had said since he had given Jeannie the sunglasses. "Yeah, you don't think you are, but it's always the smart ones, the ones who know it all, who make the most mistakes." Crab waited until it seemed like Grandpop was done, and then continued explaining what was what. The hammer, the barrel, the grip, the sight. "And this," Crab turned the gun on its side so Ernie could see, "is the trigger. Now, I'm going to tell you like your grandfather told me. You don't pull the trigger, son. You squeeze it. Got me? Squeeze it." Ernie didn't say a word, just nodded, looking even more uncomfortable, as if that were even possible. After about 100 more minutes of talking about the gun, Crab finally said that he was ready to let Ernie actually try it. Jeannie was pumped, super hyped, but he realized something was different about Ernie. Something was off. He wasn't wearing his shades. His cool was off balance. "Ern," Jeannie called to him, scratching the black frames on his face. "Here." Ernie slipped them on, and the cool was back. But only for a second. Crab shook his head. "Take 'em off. You said you wasn't stupid. You all ready? That's where we're going to pause for today. So tomorrow when we read, let's see, we have, oh yeah, just a few more pages of this chapter and of what's going to be going on with Ernie's 14th birthday. I can't wait to read that with you tomorrow. Your job now is to make sure that you have highlighted in green that you finished your vocab and reading, and then to write 4 or more sentences in a journal entry to me. I can't wait to see you guys soon. Please send me lots and lots of messages and have a wonderful rest of your day.